everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today we are playing with all new luxury makeup, and we're gonna create a fall warm themed makeup look. So what does that mean? Sticking to like pumpkin shades, you know, burnt oranges, crispy, like, you know, fall. the kind of thing you think of when it turns October in New England. Although I will say here in New England, the trees aren't really turning shades, really. I mean, they're a little bit, but because it's been relatively warm for at least Massachusetts, it's still in the 70s right now, which is just strange. Some of the trees have changed, but a lot of them are still green. So I don't know how much of a colorful fall we're gonna get, but anyway, we're gonna do it. We're gonna use makeup to do it. My hair is wet. Unfortunately, I have a lot of, well, not unfortunately, but I have a lot of videos to film for all of you because of all the holiday stuff. And in order to get them in and still work out and still do my job, sometimes I have wet hair. So I apologize, but I think it'll be okay. So today we're going to be using the Dior palette. This is the one that I actually swatched all of them. This is definitely a warm leaning palette, so that's going to be perfect for our warm pumpkin themed look, spiced, you know, that kind of thing. We're going to use the new Pat McGrath highlighter, and although this highlighter actually is, I wouldn't say it's necessarily warm. The Hermes highlighter is warm, but I don't really like that on my skin. This has more of like a peach, you'll see. It's a really beautiful shade, and I'm gonna do a video just on Pat McGrath, so don't worry, I'll do more swatches on that. We're gonna use the Tom Ford Gold Dust bronzer, which is not new, but I don't really have a new bronzer that's warm toned. I mean, not a bronzer. But we are all going to use the pre-holiday Suku cheek palette. We're going to use this shade here and maybe this shade here for blush, because that'll be perfect. It'll be a nice, like, they're all pumpkin shades. Then I have the new Guerlain. This is the holiday one. The name of it is Gold Pearls, and I will do a little comparison next to Electric Pearls, which is also a warm-toned meteorites, so you guys just can see the difference. I have a couple of different lip choices. I don't know which ones we're going to use. We'll have to swatch it out. I have Feverish from Byredo. I have the Capucine by Diorific, which is the holiday. And then I have the Guerlain. This is the holiday case with the sequins. This is the gold sequins. See if the light can kind of catch it. It's a little difficult for the camera to really pick up, but it's really impressive. It's really beautiful. And the shade that I picked up is Gold Brick. So this also has more of a warm, you know, orangey red kind of thing. So we will check all of that out when we do the lips at the end. I'll show you all three lipsticks, and then we'll make a decision about which one is the best. I'm still using the Rare Beauty mascara, loving it. It is difficult to get off. I would suggest using a oil-based eye makeup remover. The one that I use, the only one that I use is the Clé de Peau. It's the only one that works without irritating my eyes. If mascara isn't difficult to remove, I just use the Cogendo. That one works for everything. That's the spa water. I can take pretty much like 98% of the mascaras I have, that works just fine. But the Rare Beauty, I do find that there's remnants. So I do advise using an oil-based mascara or eye makeup remover. Okay, so foundation. I have on the Clé de Peau Radiant Foundation. Love this foundation. And this is in B20. It's just perfect. I love it. Absolutely love it. So let me bring you in closer and we'll take a look at the Pat McGrath highlighter. So for Pat McGrath, I did pick up the Celestial Odyssey, the Mega, Mothership Mega, and I did a video on that. I love the shades in there. I actually did 2 videos with the palette, and I'd like to use it more. It's a beautiful, beautiful palette. Maybe my favorite Pat McGrath, which is, I know, saying a lot, but I really do like it. I did pick up 2 of the quads for Pat McGrath Holiday. I haven't done a video on them yet, but the highlighter I really find interesting. I have 3 Pat McGrath highlighters. And one is very like rosy, one is like more of a gold, and then this one is kind of in between those two. And I did swatch them in the Hermes video that I did, all three of them in comparison to the Hermes. And what you can tell about this one is that it is pigmented, but you can wear it if you're fair skinned. I would just advise that you go in with a soft brush and not a dense brush. If you want to go in with a dense brush, I think if you're really fair, probably even fairer than I am, you can use it as blush, which is what I do with the one that's more pinky, which the name is escaping me right now. But I think it's one of those shades that I think is going to work on a lot of people because it's like peach. It's like a peach highlighter, which is not too pink, not too gold. I really do think I think it's beautiful, and I think it really works. I think it would work on a lot of people. So I wanted to show you that today. We'll put that on today. I think it's going to be good. Even though it's not like super warm like the Hermes, I actually think for me, I can't do super warm leaning anyway. So let's get a soft brush. Let's pull out the KZ05 highlighting brush. This is a very soft brush. One of my favorite brushes. Yeah, this is an incredibly soft brush, and look how much that picked up. Just putting it in the pan. This is a pigmented blush, highlighter. And I think a lot of people are gonna I really like it. But I wanna show it to you on my skin, which is pale, but I'm not super pale. Like I think I fall more into that light category and not the fair category, because there is some there is some pigment in my skin, in my face. My skin on my body actually is lighter. Over the years, you know, your skin on your face, I think, sees the sun more, or at least mine has. So I think that's why. I also have rosacea, so it, you know, gets a little bit of pigment from that. My brows have recently been microbladed when I'm filming this, so I'm gonna try to stay away from my brows. You'll see like redness around them, I'm sure. But that is the highlighter. So you can see what I mean. It's warm leaning, but it still isn't like harsh or brassy. I think it's a beautiful highlighter, and I think it's gonna work on a lot of people. I went in super light with it, with a really soft brush. It can be built up really easily. Yeah, I really love the Pat McGrath highlighters, all of them that I have, the three that I have. The pinky one is my favorite one, just because I like a pinky highlighter, but they're all excellent. They all go on smoothly. They stay on all day. And I would say like this one is in like the middle of those other two shades. It's a peachy shade, not a gold shade, not a pink shade, but I think it's beautiful. Love it. I absolutely love it. All right. So let's do the blush. So the blush I'm going to use in this Suku palette. I have not done the Suku pre-holiday collection. I need to get around to doing it. I have not had time. And to be honest, I've asked all of you, and most of you said it wasn't like the priority you wanted to see. You wanted to see the Dior and the Guerlain and the, I lost my, Dior, Guerlain, and Pat McGrath first. So this will have to come later. So this is the 103 palette, and I'm going to choose this shade right here. It's a very pumpkin-y shade, and we're going to use that today as blush. And like I said, I will do a dedicated video where I swatch it all out and everything. But today, it's more about just creating this, I guess it's like a pumpkin color themed look, a warm fall look for all of you, but using all of these new products. You know, something a little fun. I think all of us get a little tired of just, you know, more new, more new. You're like, yes, it's new. Everything is new. Wow. It's like, you just cannot keep up. All right. So that is the shade. I just think this cheek palette is really beautiful. I've used pretty much all the shades in there. I think if, you know, if it's still available, I think Cult Beauty had it, and Selfridges had it, but it's just, it's a stunning palette. The Suku blushes are excellent. Really, really good. Chanel, I did my blush video. Chanel is my favorite, the old formula Chanel. But if I couldn't get those, I think Suku, as I said in the video, would be my backup. All right, so let me put on a little bit of bronzer. This is the Gold Dust bronzer. When I do these videos, as I said a minute ago, of all new, I like to throw in a little bit of old. This is definitely a warm leaning bronzer. I don't use it that much because I tend to go towards more cool leaning, like highlighters and eye looks and all of that in my everyday, but I am purposely creating a warm look here. So I just, you know, the Gold Dust is perfect. So, you know, I do have products in my collection that are, you know, more warm leaning or more cool leaning, depending on the look I'm trying to go for. I don't have as much in the warm tones, but I have some. Okay, so I know at the moment it looks a little stark, especially because my hair is pulled back, but I'm gonna use the Guerlain meteorites to kind of blend it all in at the end, so I don't wanna blend too much now, because I wanna show you how the Guerlain meteorites just, I mean, the way they blend things, it's just so beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead and use the Dior palette. I have swatched this in the overall Dior video that I did, but I will do another quick swatch today. I'm not gonna do as an in-depth discussion of the shades. I will just say that if you watch that video where you see this compared to the other Dior palettes, this one is, I don't want to, you know, I hate to say simpler, but in a way it is. Like the shades in here are good neutrals. They feel a little different. The formula feels a little different. It feels a little softer actually than the other palettes. It feels almost velvety, like all the shades do. I don't exactly know why, but they do look beautiful when they swatch. This is the only matte. These are satins. This looks like a topper, and this, I think it is like a satin, but it's very, very light. So I'm gonna, you know, you can probably tell already how I'm gonna do this, but this is gonna be to deepen up the crease. I'm gonna put this on the eye, I'm gonna put this on the lid. Here's what I'm gonna top with, and I'm gonna use this kind of in the, well, sort of brow area, because I can't get too close to it. I've been very impressed with the Dior products that have come out. This is the Hourglass 6 brush. I know a lot of folks feel like they're, quote, boring because, you know, they're not particularly colorful or anything. That may be true, but, you know, the thing is they work really well. I have to say I really like all the Dior I've tried so far. For me, you know, I don't mind it being, quote, a classic, slightly basic look, as long as all the formulas are excellent. They work on the eye, you know, they're easy to use, which these all are, and are, you know, don't accentuate texture, or they're not difficult to use on a more mature eye, which means that it's not as, you know, your eyelid skin is not as taut. Those are the things that matter to me. And then the shades, I think some of them are definitely cool leaning and some are warm leaning. Like the gold palette is definitely warm leaning. The silver palette is definitely cool leaning. So I think there is some difference there. But you know, I agree with the folks that have said that they're not revolutionary. Those shades aren't. But I do think they actually create a really nice, like the silver one that I did, I thought it created a really nice holiday look. That silver is impressive. We're going in with the satiny shade that has more of that, like a taupey shade. We're gonna go over the crease with it and a little bit on the outer corner of the eye. And then I'm gonna kind of blend it up a little into the brow area, just a little bit. Now, if you want something that is a little less brown or taupe or whatever, put the shade on first and then put the matte shade over it, because then it will dilute the deepness of the shade that you put on top. The way I did it, the brown that's underneath is, you know, a deeper shade. So you're putting this on top of it so it stays deeper. If you want something lighter, put this one on first and then put the matte on over that. And you can also concentrate that matte shade, which is a deeper shade, just on the outer corner of the eye if you want, you know, the look to be lighter. If you put down a deeper shade first, you're gonna get a deeper shade on the eye. That's, you know, like if you put down like a blackish shade and then put shades over it, you get a very different look than if you put the shade down first and then try to put a black over that. It's, you know, color theory. All right, so let's take that, like, it's kind of like a beigey shade. I don't know what you'd call it. This is the Smudger one, and we'll try to put a little bit up here, not too close to my brows, but yeah, it's like a goldy shade. It's nice. It's not, I think it'll work if you have like a little bit of a deeper skin tone. On me, it's about the same, well, it's more gold, but it's kind of in the same shade range as my eye color. If you put this shade like right on the eye, I think that would be really nice with this too, because it would be a really good contrast. But I'm gonna go in with that pumpkin shade because I'm kind of doing a pumpkin, that's kind of the idea, pumpkin look. Pumpkin inspired look. All right, let's use the Chikuhodo. This is the KZ07 soft brush, and we're gonna use that Spice Pumpkin look, Spice Pumpkin shade on the eyelid, and then we'll use the topper over that. Yeah, this shade is definitely warm leaning. It's, you know, like a spicy orange shade. To me, this like just says fall. Like that's, you know, not everybody thinks that way. Like I know a lot of people don't necessarily believe in the whole, like, you know, a certain color is like a fall color or a spring color, and that's fine. But I have to admit, like when I see these shades, I think of fall. Like that's what comes to mind for me. And I think part of that is because I grew up here in New England, and, you know, we are kind of famous for the, you know, trees and all that. So things get very, like, you'll notice, like once you get around October, there's a lot of orange. There's a lot of orange, gold, like that's like kind of the thing. Okay, so I'm gonna take the topper shade and put it over this, but I want to buff this out a little bit first. So I'm gonna take the Wayne Goss 03, and again, I'm just gonna be careful of my brows. If it wasn't for the fact that they are, you know, recently microbladed, I would probably use that gold a little further up. And I might even, you know, use it like to accentuate the brow area, but I don't really want to do that because I'm afraid to get too close. Not the time to do that. All right, so I'm going to take the Pat McGrath highlighter and put that in the inner corner. Yeah, this highlighter is just, it's a stunning highlighter. It really is. It's just beautiful. Let me clean up the outside of my eye just really. Okay. Now let's take the topper shade. I'm going to use my finger for this. Yeah, that totally makes that look. It just ties it in. Because otherwise the orange, the spice, whatever color you want to call it, kind of takes over. But when you put the topper over it, it just kind of all works together. Now again, you don't have to use that orange shade all over the lid. You could use that as an accent color. You could use the deep brown, which is the matte shade, and use that very light shade on the eye. You'd get a very different look. It wouldn't be nearly as warm, but I think this is beautiful. I really like it. This is exactly what I was going for. All right, so I'm gonna take that deep brown. I'm gonna use it as liner on the lower lash line. And I'm gonna use a little bit on the upper lash line, kind of in the outer corner of the eye. There we go, just to sort of smoke it out. I love it. It's exactly what I wanted to do today. A very warm fall look. Kind of looks like, you know, a pumpkin spice latte, basically. All right, so let's take the Guerlain and we'll blend this all in before I put mascara on. So let me show you the new one. This is a very warm leaning, or at least it looks like a very warm leaning, Meteorites. And I will take this little pad here, which you guys have seen me do before, and kind of rub it in here. I love the smell. God, I love the smell. And just put it on my hand. And it's so hard to tell with these, except for the pink one. Can you see that? I think you can see it a little bit right here. So yes, it's definitely warm leaning. It's not super deep or anything though. I don't think it's gonna be a problem for my pale skin. So now let's take the other one, the electric pearls. Let's see if we can see a difference. It's so hard. It's really hard to tell. Okay, so there's that one and there's this one. Yeah, you really can't tell. So here's the new one. Here's the former one here. It's like impossible to tell. You really can't see it. What I would say, I wish you could see it. What I would say is that the new one, I'm gonna look really carefully here. They look, the old one looks whiter, like it has, the shades in it has like some whiter pearls, like the white pearls are whiter. And it seems like they're more sparkly than the new one. But they are similar, not gonna lie to you. And on the face, you know, they might be very similar. So let's try it. Let's see what it does. Here we go. So this is my Face One brush. This is like the bigger buffing brush. I also have the smaller one. And I just put it like straight into the, love the smell. Okay, and I usually stamp. And then buff. All right, guys, what do we think? I mean, it's a beautiful finish. It looks almost like just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like glass-like. Now, the issue becomes, is it too warm for like my neck? Because my neck is a lot cooler. So to be honest with you, I think if my hair is pulled back, it's probably too warm. Like all of this together. But if my hair was down, I think it would work. So let's try it. Yeah, it's amazing. And then I think hair makes like so much difference. So with my hair down, and if my hair was blown out, I think, you know, the warmness of my hair, this would be fine. But with my hair back, I think it's just too much, like too warm all over with the bronzer and the cheek palette, which is, you know, I picked a very warm shade, and the Guerlain on top of it. So that's the thing I would say, like with the fact that I am, you know, relatively pale, I think you can use like, I think if you use the Guerlain, this new one, with like no bronzer might be better, because I think it might altogether be too much. It kind of looks like too bronzy on me, or at least that's how I see it. But I don't think it looks bad. I just think it looks like too much. Maybe I'm just not used to it. All right, so let me curl my lashes, put on mascara, and then we'll pick a lip shade. Okay, so we have mascara on. Like I was saying before, we went back to the mascara. I really like this look. I think it's a beautiful look. It kind of has like a bronzed goddess kind of thing going, but I just think it's a little too much for my pale skin. So I'm really going to be interested in seeing how the gold pearls work with like just, you know, no bronzer, maybe like very little blush or very little highlighter, and just seeing how that works on like bare skin. I'll have foundation on. But I think it'll be really interesting to try this just on my just foundation, because I think it really warmed up the skin quite a bit, which is really nice because it gives a glow, a gorgeous glow, and I often look kind of ghostly pale. But using this just on top of foundation might just give me a beautiful like bronze glow, but not too much. And if I don't have the gold bronzer and like warm blush and the warmer highlighter underneath, I think it might actually work just perfectly for me. So we'll have to see. I will say that the eye look, I absolutely love. I love the way it turned out. I think it's perfect fall, warm fall look. The shades performed beautifully. Love it. So lipsticks. Let's take a look at the 3 lipsticks and figure out which one is going to be the best for today. We've got Feverish, which is the Byredo lipstick. And it's very shimmery. It's because they're shimmery lipsticks. We have the Cappuccine by Dior. It's in this bullet. And then we have the new Guerlain, which is the Gold Brick. You can see the gold on the bullet, which I think is just very cool. All right, let's see what that one looks like. Oh, it's a beautiful shade. And the Gold Brick, I think, actually is the best for this. The Cappuccine by Dior is also beautiful. The Feverish is beautiful too. But I think this one actually fits this look. So let's go ahead and try it. I would suggest using a liner. I mean, I generally use liners because this shade would bleed. Just because, you know, my lips are older, but the shade is gorgeous. It's this beautiful brick gold, like it has an orange red to it that's just stunning. And with this shade on the eye, it's great. And again, this is the Dior, so it's not like Guerlain made it for that, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful shade. Feels great on the lips. Love this formula. It's called the Exceptional formula. Okay, but I do really like it. And the case, this is the gold sequin case. I have a number of cases. I kind of want to get the B one again this year, but I haven't decided about that yet. They're a little pricey. So overall, my thoughts. First, the Dior eyeshadow palette, the iconic Ecrin palette, I think is stunning. I really love the shades in here. It's definitely a warmer toned eyeshadow palette. The colors are beautiful. They blended really well. On video, I've done 3 of the palettes of the 4 holiday, and I think they're all exceptional. Really, really love them. The Pat McGrath highlighter. I love the Pat McGrath highlighter. Of the highlighters that I picked up recently, the Pat McGrath and the Chantecaille are my favorites. Very different shades, so you could buy both of them. They're very different, but they're both excellent quality and really beautiful on the face. The Suku palette. The Suku palette is just stunning. When I do the Suku video, I'll go into more depth, but the shades in here are just beautiful. And the formula, as I've said before in other Suku videos, is just immaculate. The Guerlain meteorites. You know I love the meteorites. The gold pearls are stunning. The smell is amazing. You know, I really, really like it, but I will say that with the bronzer, the Gold Dust bronzer, the Pat McGrath highlighter, and the Suku blush, which was all very warm, the meteorites on top of it did actually make my skin look a little maybe too bronzy. It depends on what you guys think. I think it works much better with my hair down. And like if I had something that I could put it down my neck a little bit to cover up the difference. I do think it's a little too bronze for me. I do look healthy though. I have a healthy glow going. A little too bronze for me, but I think if I did it over, I would just use the blush and the highlighter, and I'd use this as an all-over kind of bronze instead of using a bronzer at all. But again, I think if you have a deeper skin tone, which is practically everybody, it wouldn't be an issue. It's just because I am, you know, I am so much paler. The lipstick, I love this shade. This shade is beautiful. This is number 35, Gold Brick, and I think it's a beautiful, beautiful shade. Very comfortable on the lips. I love the case. I love these Guerlain cases, and I love the fact that they always have, you know, new additions. They're great to collect. Not great for your pocketbook, but, you know, really beautiful. So there is our pumpkin-inspired fall warm look using all these new luxury makeup products. And I like really everything that I used today, guys. So, you know, I have had some products that I've used lately that I'm not as big a fan of, and I'll certainly be talking about those in my end of the year wrap up for, you know, the things that I loved and the things that were a little bit of a disappointment. But for the most part, I've been really happy with the stuff that I've picked up for holiday. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video really soon.